Hi, I'm Michaela Clapton, and my presentation focuses on using a Think Aloud strategy when teaching reading comprehension and also discusses reading recovery from What Works Clearinghouse. First, it's important to understand what the Think Aloud strategy is. It is used for students to monitor their thinking, which will aid in their comprehension of the text. It allows students to hear their strengths and weaknesses when applying each comprehension strategy. First, the teacher must model how to think aloud before asking the students to practice it independently. It can be used to formally assess students' comprehension because it is often described as eavesdropping on someone's thinking. The quantitative study focused on 23 eighth graders with the lowest English abilities from a town in Indonesia. The students were given a pretest and a post-test. They began by thinking aloud to their teachers and peers as they read. Then they transitioned to completing the task quietly. The post-test showed significant improvement. As you can see, the average score increased by about 42%, and the spread of those scores decreased. This study recommends using the Think Aloud strategy with many comprehension strategies, such as making predictions, visualizing, making analogies, connecting new information to background knowledge, and self-questioning. Teaching the strategy well and how to think through that strategy aloud is critical in ensuring its success. The Think Aloud strategy continually allowed the teachers to informally assess the students and adjust their instruction as needed. Since this study focused on 23 students who do not speak English, the results from this study are not generalizable to other types of students. More studies should be conducted to determine the true effectiveness of the Think Aloud strategy. When planning other studies, the researcher should consider using students with different cultures, ages, English proficiency, and sample size. Additionally, the teachers in the study can be trained in using the Think Aloud strategy so it is more effective. This qualitative study followed first and second year teachers. Each teacher was required to plan, create, implement, and reflect upon Think Aloud lessons. Unsuccessful lessons use simple comprehension strategies, did not use stopping points well, and often stopped with no reasoning. Successful lessons, such as the one on this slide, considered student perspectives and misunderstandings while also using multiple comprehension strategies. This study recommended using sticky notes with your thoughts throughout the book to guide your stopping points. It also recommends that teachers practice using the Think Aloud strategy on texts which are difficult for them, such as using research articles. That way, you can understand what it is like to use this strategy from the eyes of a student, and you can adjust your instruction appropriately. The author suggests taking advantage of opportunities to observe other teachers teaching with this strategy. Finally, remember to use this strategy with many genres. One limitation is that this study was only conducted on 31 teachers, so it may not be generalizable to classes around the country. Secondly, this study was qualitative. There is no numerical data to demonstrate its true effectiveness. This qualitative study did an excellent job at recording the procedures of a Think Aloud. Therefore, similar studies should include a quantitative feature to strengthen the validity of the results. Also, other studies should consider trying the Think Aloud strategy with other grades. This mixed method study focused on 10 students who have an intermediate level of English proficiency. These students were randomly paired together to complete Think Aloud tasks. The Think Aloud strategy was scaffolded to the students until they were able to complete the tasks independently. This study was centered around the belief that Think Alouds are more effective in pairs. After reading each text, the student's comprehension will be measured by completing 5 multiple-choice questions. Throughout this study, each of the pairs of students' interactions were transcribed. The 2 highest and lowest pairs were used to gather qualitative data by studying the transcripts. The study found that this strategy showed a significant difference in students' performance of reading comprehension. For the Think Aloud strategy to be most successful, students must have schema, they must understand the comprehension strategies, and they must recognize the grammatical structure of the text. Additionally, with the success of this study, consider having students think aloud to each other. This study should consider collecting the data in a different way, which may make it more effective. For example, multiple choice questions do not always assess all areas of comprehension within Bloom's taxonomy. This study has a very small sample size, so using a larger, more diverse sample size in the future will increase its generalizability. Additionally, as discussed on the previous slides, future research should consider using other methods of assessment and data collection. This action study focused on 4 classes in one high school. 2 were taught Think Aloud strategies for pre-reading, during reading, and post-reading. The other 2 only summarized the text. The teachers scaffolded their lessons by modeling using the Think Aloud, having students practice with their teacher. Then the students discussed and tried the strategy in small groups, an independent demonstration of the strategy. As you can see, the experimental classes gained an average of 1.03 points more than the control group. This study recommends that teachers scaffold their comprehension strategies with the use of Think Alouds. They also recognize that narrative text is easier for Think Alouds than expository text. Since this study only consisted of 4 classes, the data may not be generalizable. It is recommended that future studies use a larger sample size of many different types of classrooms. The What Works Clearinghouse website showed 3 studies which consisted of about 70 to 80 first graders each. The studies found that students' performance after reading recovery intervention was considerably better, specifically in the areas of alphabetic knowledge, comprehension, reading achievement, and reading fluency. It is important that teachers are trained in reading recovery program so that it is implemented with fidelity. Additionally, it is intended to be used to help at-risk first grade students. Finally, the What Works Clearinghouse website stated that it is most effective in helping improve alphabetics, comprehension, and fluency. The limitations change depending on the study. Schwartz lacks a double-blind protection, so there may be some bias and skewed results because teachers were aware of the groups which received the treatment. Both have similar sample sizes, so they are not generalizable to other schools and students. Finally, both studies only report the short-term effects of reading recovery. Will there continue to be benefits after the students are out of the program and in other grades? Future research should follow students throughout their schooling to determine the long-term effects of reading recovery. Additionally, reading recovery has only demonstrated effectiveness for 3 aspects of literacy. Is it effective in other literacy domains? All right, here are my references. Thank you very much for watching.